Hi guys, Anne here from Tom's Outdoors. Today I will be giving you a review on the Mystery Ranch Bridge of 55 after doing my first ever overnight hike. So I had never been on an overnight hike before. I grew up in a pretty outdoorsy family, doing lots of camping and fishing away every school holidays, but I had never had to carry any of my own gear more than 5 meters from the car. So it was a pretty big experience going on this overnight hike with Tom's, and I definitely learnt a lot about how different it is to car camping. For the hike, me and Dudes and Chloe from the shop went to Mount Jagungal. We did the round mountain loop, I think. They kept me in the dark in the lead up to the hike, I think, so I couldn't Google actually how far it was or what the elevation was. Fear, more fear with a sprinkling of anxiety. So the Bridge of 55, it is a 55 litre pack. It was really easy for me to pack we were away for 2 nights, 3 days. I took probably a bit more gear than I needed because I wanted to be prepared for any sort of weather situation. So it's a really suitable pack for multi-night hikes, even if you're going out in winter where you're needing a bit more and a bit heavier gear. So with the pack, one of my favorite features is an internal sling it has. So at the very bottom of the pack, I had my tent and my wet weather gear. This meant that when it came time to set up for the night, even if it was raining, I'd be able to easily grab that stuff out directly from the bottom, and the sling holds the rest of my gear up so that it's not crushing it. I can pull it out and nothing else is going to fall out, only the things that I wanted quick access to. That was one of my favorite features, and it helped me get my tent set up before the other girls. On this pack, the front pockets here are actually inspired by a running vest. So they've got the adjustable elastic, and they're actually quite spacious. So I was able to fit a 600 ml soft plastic drink bottle in one side, my sunscreen, lip balm, I've got my phone in there, and snacks in the other side. Because they are so easily accessible, I found myself like really drinking water whenever I was thirsty, which helped me keep my hydration up because it was a bit hotter. It's also the actual chest straps. You can adjust the height for comfort, which is really good, and that's not something that you can do on all packs. So these little clips, you can actually move them up or down depending on where is more comfortable for you. So the hip belt on this pack is quite cushioned. It's also got the nice wide buckles. The straps, for me, this is an extra small to small pack, and I did have the hip pack tightened to its tightest setting for most of the trip, which meant I did have quite some long straps hanging down. The hip pack was really comfy. I definitely got some wearing and some bruises on my hips, but I hear that is to be expected. I do think it was pretty comfortable considering the weight that I had in the bag. So on this pack, the back is adjustable. It slides along the rails here, and it's got a really strong Velcro that keeps it in place. This was really good for me, being able to get the pack sized up properly in the shop before we headed out. It also meant that because it was adjusted for my torso, I was able to adjust the straps as I was walking. So one feature on this pack that I didn't actually realize until after our second day is that the brain of this pack actually fully detaches, and it has a wide waist buckle built into it. So you can actually take this brain off and wear it as a day pack. If I'd known that, and if I'd known what our descent from Jagungal would have been like, I definitely would have left the whole majority pack at the bottom, worn my brain as a day pack with some water and lunch in it to summit, and then come back down the way we went up, and yeah, keep going with the rest of the pack. It's Also something I could see myself using as a bit of a fishing pack. You know, if you're sort of doing an overnighter, leaving your pack back at camp once you've set up your tent and those sorts of things, and then you can pack some snacks and your fishing gear in the brain and take it out for a bit of a spin. So another feature of this pack that worked really well for the Jagungal hike that we did was the durability of it, particularly the material. It's quite a thin material, but it wasn't something I worried about damaging at all. On our descent, we did a lot of bush bashing, really pushing our way through some scrub. The pack still looks totally brand new, so that's definitely a really good feature, particularly on a pack that you're taking out and about. So for this pack, you've got a few different options in terms of how you can access your gear on the inside, just depending on how you've packed it and what you want. So opening it up, you've got that brain that detaches. So you can open it fully like that. It has got some internal pockets down both sides, and then it's also got an internal pocket down the spine, which was great because I just slid my gaiters in there. And then down the bottom here, you can access your gear as well. So it's got these straps on the outside which keep everything tucked in. But opening this up, I've got my rain jacket. I can slide my tent right out of there. Because it's got this internal sling, the weight of my sleeping bag, sleeping mat, and all my clothes isn't falling down onto that tent. So it makes it really easy to get things in and out. While on this Jagungal hike, the others were trying to save weight where they could, and I took a fishing rod because I couldn't help myself, and also I'd never been on an overnight hike before, so I didn't quite understand the difference those little extra luxuries make. This isn't the rod that I took, but this is where I packed the rod. So I was able to put it into the side pocket here along with my drink bottle. And when it was sort of, when we were doing some bush bashing through some rougher terrain, I was able to clip the rod in. So in terms of things I didn't like about the pack, as I said, it's my first overnight hike. I've never used a pack like this before, so I don't have anything to compare it to. There was nothing obvious that stood out to me that I thought needed to be changed. There were things about the hike I didn't like, but not necessarily about the pack. So given that it was my first overnight hike, I think it was really good to have this pack that has some of those extra comfort features as opposed to an ultralight pack. It helped make the trip a bit more comfortable for me and a bit more enjoyable for me as well. I think I would have struggled if I had just taken bare basics with me and a really bare basics pack. Oh, one thing I did forget to mention, this front pocket here, perfect for my wet sandals. Sandals were essential to sort of give my feet a break when we stopped for the day. But this is nice and breathable, so I could actually put my wet sandals after walking through the river in here, and then they dried as I was walking. So that was a nice little feature as well. So those are my thoughts on the Bridge of 55 and my first overnight hike. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to give us a call at the shop, drop us a comment, and I think I get to go and do some fishing now before we head back to the shop.